is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah, go Cowboys!
This is Mick Shots, streaming live on DallasCowboys.com and the official Dallas Cowboys app. Now, here are Bill Jones, Everson Walls, and Mickey Spagnola.
T-minus 3 days and counting until day number one of the National Football League draft. I saw a football player or two on a football field here at the Star in Frisco, and we are raring to go on this Monday edition of Mick Shots. Bill Jones, Mickey Spagnola, Everson Walls thumbing through the Cowboys Star Magazine draft preview issue as he tries to...
What am I trying to do, Bill? What am I trying to do, Bill?
He tries to do his homework assignment on the fly. He walks into the classroom, and the teacher said, Everson, did you get your homework done? And now he's scrambling, trying to remember what the assignment was.
I'm trying to find the DBs first before anything.
Come on, it's a week old. You expect him to remember all that?
I purposely texted him after the show last week and
With
said,
great names.
these are your cornerbacks
Yes.
you need to look at before next Monday. And now he's doing his research. So, Mickey, how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm ready to go.
All right. Very
Oh,
good.
thanks, teacher's pet over there.
I didn't have any homework assignments.
The teacher's pet. He brought an apple.
You could
for
see
Bill.
I had to turn the volume down. Bill's really excited. It's draft
That's right.
week, so he came in loud.
Loud and clear as I'm looking on NFL Network at the not-so-frozen tundra of Lambeau Field.
they better
and
hope
that's
it
when
stays
the
that
draft
way.
will take place on Thursday through the weekend. You can enjoy it here at the Star in Frisco as well. Tom Pelissero is already at Lambeau Field.
You know, from what I heard, around that stadium, it's one of the more unique football stadiums with the exhibitions and
Tell
stuff.
us about it, Mickey. I've never been to Lambeau Field.
They made a kind of a what do they call it?
An NFL experience?
No, they did it themselves. They built around the stadium.
Yeah.
Oh, like a Star in Frisco? With
Sort of like
entertainment
that.
district?
Yeah, there's an entertainment district.
Office
now.
buildings and stuff?
They can walk. There's like a exhibit where you, as you're going to the stadium, right? There's a
And they have a Packers Hall of Fame there at Lambeau.
And then there's an outdoor. They
That's
built
what I'm
an
talking
outdoor
about.
facility for
Yeah.
the draft.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you're saying a temporary one for the draft?
But they have. It's called Title Town,
There you go. That's
and
that's
they
what it
built
is.
they built it up.
That's already there.
That's there, but they're building the outdoor part.
No, but the
draft.
the Title Town thing, I heard
Yeah.
that got upgraded or something. And
Yeah, they've really.
I knew one guy. He's a Packer fan. I don't know why in the hell he's a Packer fan, but he was up there and
I
he
was a Packer fan. What's wrong
well,
with that?
Again, why the hell
Thank you. See, that doesn't prove
you not
help their
see-
case at all. Oh, I'm there. Yeah.
I was sticking up for your friend.
Well, he's but he talked about how they changed a few things, and you can walk through there on the way to the stadium. The things that you see going
Yeah.
up to it, they've got this tradition, I guess, of how they approach.
They're expecting, over the course of the 3 days, about 300,000 people.
Isn't it
visit.
amazing? Isn't it amazing? I mean, you see this, and as soon as they went on in New York too, but it was just for years in New York. And once they got it and moving it around the country, isn't it amazing?
Great idea.
The people love events. I mean, they don't care that it's there's no, well, I guess there might be some musical entertainment out in that area, whatever, but you're not watching a game. You're watching players being picked on a TV screen, and it becomes a big festive party.
Unless you're lucky enough to get close enough to the stage and you can see the guys.
Okay,
out.
you're still watching players
Yeah.
getting picked and walking
Yes.
on stage.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
and the entertainment value is through the roof. That's because people love to party.
And I read.
Yeah, that's all that is.
Right.
Right?
Looking for an event.
That's
And this
all
is
that-
going to be a drive destination because they don't have enough hotels for everybody to show up and stay. You can stay in Appleton because that's where the Cowboys used to stay until.
And how far
they
is
went
Appleton
there.
from Green Bay?
That's about a 45 5-minute drive,
Okay.
something like that. It's a great little town.
driving
I
from-
love it.
Like staying in Fort Worth and going to a game in Frisco.
About. Yeah.
So you have a like a beach out there somewhere, right? In the
There's a river, a
river?
bay.
a bay.
Yeah.
It's really nice.
I don't know that
Green
it's
Bay.
a beach.
Well, let me say this. God, I was young.
Did you ever play there?
I played there, but I did an event there.
Oh, okay.
And we had some type of parade. I was one of the younger guys there, and I was there with some Hall of Famers. And man, they were just older guys. They were just having so much fun, and they were just relaxed. And I recall going to a bay area around some water, and I remember how clear and beautiful that water.
The water was.
Yeah. And where was I? I mean,
You could have been there
It
because
was-
there's a bay there.
yeah, and I remember I put my feet in the water, and it was really
You could
clear.
see your feet.
Yeah, it was really clear. Yeah, you could see your feet. And I was like, wow, and I remember we had done a parade. It was some type of parade that we were in, and man, that was
You know who's making out like bandits is the people that own houses in that
yes,
neighborhood
yes,
because they're renting them out. I guarantee
because you go through, right?
Yeah.
you go through there.
Or
You know what that bay is called?
Green.
Yeah, that's right. So people are going, let's get to the draft. Okay, why are we talking about this? And so and they're probably doing what I'm doing. Okay, I'll play along with this conversation, and I'll got my map out, and I looked at Green Bay, and yeah, it's right there on some water, and sure enough, it's Green Bay.
Green Bay.
And it's Lake Michigan on the other side of that little peninsula there. Okay, we got that settled. Now let's talk draft.
All right.
Oshkosh is nearby too.
I think we stayed there one year.
Okay.
Oshkosh?
We stayed south because they were. I don't know why we weren't in Appleton, but we kind of stayed off the highway.
Okay.
So,
We ready now?
have you sold the big green notebook yet?
Speaking of green, the big green. No, it's not for sale.
I mean,
Unless
we
Jerry would
sell
like to
the.
buy it.
Oh, it's for sale.
We
Jerry
sell the
Jones
Star
would like to
magazine.
buy
It
my
can be
big
sold.
green notebook. It is for sale. Okay.
I know some people put out big money for that book.
That's right.
It can be sold, Bill. It can be sold.
Yeah.
Except the part that has his 7-round draft in it.
Which featured two trades.
Two trades
And
two
five.
quarterbacks.
Wait. And 5 top 100 picks and 2 quarterbacks in it. See, when you trade down, then you can make luxury picks. And I'm concerned about the backup quarterback situation on this team. I'm also concerned about the developmental quarterback situation.
You
on
should have
this
spent
team.
more time finding a veteran quarterback that they need.
Well, there's only one left out there, and that's Carson Wentz. So now we're going to the draft.
I like Carson.
No problem. I got no problem with Carson Wentz. And C.J. Beathard would be another one.
Well, you
We've
think you
talked
can
about
find
that
a
before.
rookie quarterback? in
There's
the
Desmond
fourth,
Ritter, I think, out there.
Find a rookie quarterback in the 4th round that can win you 13 games.
There's not a 4th-round pick, Mickey, and so we're going to have to go either the 3rd or the 5th round.
Mickey should know that.
I was being facetious.
Oh, thank you
think
so much. I
They
was
did
worried
that
about
one year, maybe, if my memory, about 9 years ago.
I'm concerned about getting a quarterback in here and developed in time for the next time that a contract comes up.
Oh, I'm more worried about week 3.
Well, it's exactly right. And in the meantime, if you get a good enough quarterback, he might
He'll be ready?
He may be able to at least do a little something. But I don't think we have that right now.
Yeah.
All right.
That would be a Carson Wentz.
Yep, that's right. So you've got 3 legal pads in front of you. Where would you like to start?
Where did I Oh, I know what I wanted to do. So, what about this? I know what your predictions were for draft picks.
They weren't predictions.
Oh,
They were,
they were selections.
it was like
absolutions.
my picks. They're not predictions of what the Cowboys are going to do.
Let's do this. Options. So, first option would be you're not enthused with what's there at 12, or there's so much there at 12 you could trade back. Would you do it?
And the reason for trading back, in my opinion, there you can go every position on this team, including quarterback, and there is a need on this team.
Okay.
They've done what they can do as far as free agency, but when you look not only at 2025, but also 2026 and beyond, when you look at the number of players or in the last year of their contracts, whatever, there is a need every position on the team. Okay.
So
the reason I bring that up is if you trade down and pick up, say, a third-round pick, then you've got 4 top 100 picks instead of 3.
Right.
Or in the case of this team, right now they've got 3 top 148 picks because they don't have a 4th-round pick. Their next pick after the 3rd round is at 149.
how far would you feel safe dropping back?
I think
From 12.
I don't think unless there's a surprise where there's one of the top prospects for some reason slides, I don't think there's a whole lot of difference between the guy you're going to get at number 12 and the guy you're going to get at number 22.
That's what I was going to say, 20.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't want to fall back past 19. I don't want to get to 20. I would rather go to 15.
So, okay, we're talking this.
But
every team,
would you drop back?
I would drop back.
Okay.
I would. Simply because we need so many players. We need a player in every position.
Okay.
If we were looking for one particular player, then I wouldn't.
Okay.
We would wait on that guy. We got an agreement. We know what everyone's going to do. We're set for it. Boom. We did it. Job well done. Everybody high five.
All right. So, having said that, if you got to 12, is there a go ahead?
One other thing. All right, it's a difference. Okay, if you drop to 15, if you look at the trade value chart,
Okay.
and I'm reading off the Rich Hill modified trade value chart. The difference in points from going from 12 to 15, you're getting a 4th-round draft pick back to move down 3 spots.
That ain't enough.
That's right. And so if you move down to 18, I'm looking at the difference in points here. You're looking at 347, 18's 280, 47 and 30, 60. You're looking at a 3rd-round pick back. So if you go to 15, it's a 4th-round pick. If you go to 18, it's a 3rd-round pick.
I got to have a 3rd if I move.
So you have to move back to 18,
Yeah.
17, 18, something like that.
Or I've got to do something and give them 2026 5th round to.
Now, if you do what the Big Green Notebook did and move back to 20 or 22, you can get a 2nd-round pick.
It's
back.
too far.
Now, the problem is you also have to have someone who wants to move up for something to give up.
Right.
And in
Everybody's
this
making
draft,
moves. That's what I was gonna
because
say.
of the quarterback situation in this draft, there's probably not going to be teams that are going to be moving very far.
Okay, so if something falls to 12 that you say, I got to have that guy, who would it be?
I'd take them. Oh,
If let's put it this way. If for some reason, and I don't think it's going to happen, Ashton Genty
yes,
falls to
I
12.
run to the podium and
Right?
yes. If Ashton Genty, I don't think Genty will get past the Raiders at 6.
It's the way it sounds.
Yeah.
And possibly New Orleans at
9.
9.
No, they're taking Shador at 9, right? That's what everyone
New
said.
Orleans.
That's what everyone said.
Mm-hmm. He doesn't have
That-
to change cleats.
That's another topic.
His
What's
same
happening
color.
with what's happening
Yeah,
with
it's
him?
same color. He doesn't have
Yeah.
to change jerseys.
Yeah.
Excessive.
Okay, so now if you get to 12 and you're going to stay there and Genty's not there, would you still take a running back?
I would not.
You would not.
I would not because there's a deep running back class and you can get a running back in the 2nd or 3rd round.
So you would go with a different position.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What about if you decide not to do that? Would you take a wide receiver there?
You could take a wide receiver there.
And it seems like the top ones to go there would be McMillan, Golden, Ibuka, and Burden.
And I would, probably in that order, for the so-called experts out there.
Right.
They have them
What
ranked in that order.
The big green notebooks.
I out of those, I like Ibuka.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the reasons I like Ibuka is, and there's no knock against the other guys,
Right.
but he might be the safest pick in this draft in terms of being reliable, and he is a culture setter in the locker room. His value goes beyond what he does on the football field, and that's what I love about Emeka Ibuka.
Now, I saw one thing about him that says he's a slot receiver. Is that it?
I don't see that.
He can do both, inside, outside.
I don't know why he wouldn't be able to.
Okay.
I mean, he's 6'1", 200 pounds.
And McMillan has basically got to be the outside kind
I mean, he's playing at Ohio State where they got all those receivers
Right.
who can play on the outside. So somebody's got to play in the slot. So he's been playing in the slot. That doesn't mean he can't play outside. He is, from a character standpoint, he's Terry McLaurin, who came out of Ohio State and is obviously doing what he's doing at Washington.
All right.
He is one of the safest picks you could have in this draft, I think.
Now, Golden and Burden can do inside and outside, in my opinion.
Okay.
McMillan's just outside, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's not a speed guy, is he?
Ran a 4.4.
Okay.
I mean,
well, that's
a 4.45, something. 4.48.
But he's kind of the bigger type
Yes, he's, yep.
receiver.
Yep.
Okay.
I mean, there's advantages to what he can do, and especially on this Cowboys team, you're lacking in that big wide receiver.
Right.
Well, they traded for one, Jonathan Mingo.
So he's more of a – I just went right by that. He's more of a Amari Cooper type receiver?
He's more of he's the comp is Mike Evans.
Okay.
I mean,
So
that type of receiver.
what you get there has to be able to kind of complement what CD.
Which, by the way, I'm glad you mentioned Amari Cooper. Here's the other thing to factor in, Everson, as you're looking at the wide receivers, at taking a wide receiver in this draft. There are about 4 free agent wide receivers out there who you could sign after the draft if you don't get the wide receiver that you want during the draft. So as you're filling these obvious needs on the team and replacing Brandon Cooks on the roster, well, there's Tyler Lockett still out there.
Okay.
There's Amari Cooper still out there.
Okay.
There's Keenan Allen still out there. There's Tyler Boyd still out there.
Those are good ones.
So there are a handful of wide receivers who you can take care of that immediate need, and probably for sure, that wide receiver, if they still have it, they still have their legs, which I'm assuming they do, they're going to give you more this year than what a rookie wide receiver.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. Yeah. And these are quarterback-friendly wide receivers you just called out.
Right, that's right.
These guys know how to work the slot. I think all 3 slot receivers. We know Amari Cooper. We know what he can do and how he changes teams from the wide receiver position.
That's why I think you have to look beyond the immediate need this year. There are guys out there who can fill those immediate needs,
Yes, they are.
and they're not going to cost that much. And so you have to look, okay, and that's one of the reasons I like Ibuka is because this is a guy who's going to impact things for years here and beyond football.
Well, that's true, too. But once again, going back to those veteran receivers, I can't recall any one of those guys having locker room problems or having issues with their quarterback.
It's got to be about me.
Yes, I don't recall any of them. If I was going to say anybody, maybe Keenan Allen, and that would just be, spitballing. I have no idea what his relationship is, but there's nothing that has come out where you could say it was a detriment to that team and he was a problem in the locker room. Either one of those, especially 3 out of those 4 guys.
It never is a problem until somebody in the media asks, "Are you not getting the ball enough?"
And consider Tyler Lockett. He's been with this coach and had a great year with this coach in Seattle.
And Amari wasn't a problem here.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, there you go.
So now, what happens if there is one of the top cornerbacks there at 12th? Would you?
I think you need a cornerback more than you do a receiver in regards to getting it in the draft.
Okay.
Because I don't know what cornerbacks are out there that can impact the team as well as the wide receivers that are out there that can impact you.
The guys that are projected as
veterans. I mean,
the guy. Well, okay, but the guy and Stephon Gilmore is one of the veterans that is out there. Tre'Davious White just got signed by Buffalo. He was one that was out there. Asante Samuel has an injury issue that has to be worked out to see whether he's good to go or not. So, but there are some cornerbacks out there. But
I wouldn't say that they're the caliber of
no, they're not.
I'm just
That's
talking
exactly right. But when you look at the draft, there are a couple of cornerbacks who are projected that would be okay. Cowboys will get a pat on the back if they take Will Johnson of Michigan with the 12th pick or Jahdae Barron from Texas. Any other cornerback, they'll be ripped for. Oh, that's too high to take him. But
Trey Amos too high.
That he's projected as a second round,
yeah,
whatever. But that doesn't mean anything. I mean, if you love a player,
man, take that dude.
Take him, and because you're only taking him too high if he wouldn't be there the next time you pick at number 40, or if he would be there the next time you pick at 44 in the second round. Otherwise, you're not taking him too high.
So.
You'd love to trade down and get better value, but sometimes you got to have a trading partner. But Maxwell Hairston is more of a slot, but he can play outside too. Out of Kentucky is another guy that would be a late first, second round guy. But Amos from Ole Miss is another one. Amos started his career at Louisiana Lafayette, played 3 years there, was actually a backup at Alabama for 1 year, and then his last year started and played well at Ole Miss. But Alabama, he played behind Kool-Aid McKinstry and Terry and Arnold, who were top draft picks. So.
Okay, so I read this about Will Johnson, that there was some concern about his long-term knee. Long knee injury.
Oh, knee injury.
Currently not a problem, but there could be something long-term.
And what raises the red flag? Now, supposedly he didn't run.
He didn't run a 40.
But he didn't run at the combine due to a hamstring injury.
Right.
And he only played 6 games last year. He had a turf toe injury, torn ligament, turf toe injury.
Okay.
And but he. And so the problem where he was likely in the eyes of the analyst falling is because there's no time on him because he hasn't run.
Well, can't they watch him play?
Yes, but you watch him play. Now, if there is a medical issue, that would drop him for sure.
We're talking Will?
There would Will Johnson from Michigan.
I got you.
6'2", 194 pounds, and he looks the part. He's really good.
So,
and I like Barron from Texas too.
I mean, I saw him work out, and I was sold.
Which one, Barron?
Barron.
Really? Barron.
And I listened to him talk.
Oh yeah,
he's got more confidence than Everson.
Yeah, and so he is from the character standpoint, and that he's like a Buka in terms of all that stuff. So
see, and for us to understand why we kind of pointed out the cornerback position, I've got concerns that Trayvon Diggs is not going to be ready to start the season.
You got multiple needs at cornerback because of that. You got not only Jordan Lewis, but also
you lost him. You got Deron Bland and don't tell me Kaiir Elam.
Kaiir Elam is the guy that they traded for. And you got Kalen Carson.
Tell me about Elam. Who is this guy?
Kaiir Elam was a...
that's what I'm supposed to be checking on.
Former Buffalo.
Kaiir Elam is the one they traded for.
Oh, okay.
He's not in the draft.
Okay.
But he was a first-round draft pick of the Bills in 2022 and basically got beat out by a sixth-round pick, Christian Benford, from that same draft. So he was available here going into the last year of his contract, and the Cowboys traded for him. Last year, he played in 13 games, started for Buffalo, and so in his career, he's got 12 starts in 3 seasons with 2 interceptions. Still young.
He's young.
He'll turn 24 May 5th.
So as it
So he's the
stands-
same age as. In fact, he may be. Let me look. He is 7 months older than Jahdae Barron out of Texas. Barron turns 24 in December, and Kaiir Elam turns 24 next month.
Because as it stands right now, without knowing about Diggs, you would have to say Kalen Carson has to really step up and get back to playing the way he did in training camp and early in the season before he got injured.
You would think that even regardless of what happens in the draft, that they're looking at another corner, veteran guy bring in here after the draft.
Because my concern about Diggs is I'd like to see him out here rehabbing. He's doing it on his own again like he did his ACL. That concerns me. Why wouldn't you do it here?
So how did he do with his ACL?
Well, not as good as, I mean, it took him a while to get going.
Do you think it would make a difference he was here? And I'm being devil's advocate.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be a jerk here.
I just,
Because I don't,
what goes on here.
Yeah, I don't know what, I wish they had a better connection
yeah.
between the two. But I got to see what happens with this because, right now, all we've seen is a lot of negativity when it comes to
It's
the
almost like they do medical rechecks on draft picks.
Right.
They go back to Indianapolis. Like if there's a question about a player's injury when they was at the combine in late February, they'll do a medical recheck. They fly them into Indianapolis to do it again.
Yeah.
A week before the draft or so. It would have happened this past week. It's almost like you'd like to do it with your own veteran players. And in some ways, it happens when they show up for the voluntary off-season pro. It can happen that way. But if you don't have them, if they don't agree to it, whatever, you'd like a medical recheck right now, see where Trayvon is in his rehab.
You would think that they would have the right
January
to do
surgery.
it, saying that they're paying him, and I get that part of it. That's what they're thinking.
He's also got a workout bonus he could earn if he's here in the offseason.
Okay. Well, that hadn't begun yet. Right?
Yeah. Well, I would imagine it began last week
Okay.
when they start.
But
it was
it started
voluntary.
last Monday.
It was
Yeah. But you're
voluntary.
just talking about appearances on the field out there.
Yeah.
Doing work, signing in, or whatever, documenting it. I'm sure he can get. What are the maximum amount of days that you can have? What's the maximum?
I don't know.
Well, see, because in Valley Ranch, we had, you had like, I think a total of 45 workouts that you could have had in the off season, something like that. And I'm sure I made like 12.
So
Just saying.
think about
it doesn't necessarily, depending on what you got going on, it's not necessarily, warranted or mandated or whatever. It's just,
what about financially? What would it be worth to you to make sure you were here working out? If it was today,
well,
not back then.
It ain't 35,000. I can tell you that much. It ain't 35,000. So that's what I was dealing with. Now,
Right.
He's like,
Now we're probably in at least 100, right?
yeah.
I don't know if I turn my nose up on that.
That's what I'm saying.
All right, when we come back here on Mix Shots, I'm going to throw another position and another player at you.
Well, was my next position.
Would you in the first round when we come back here on Mix Shots?
Cowboys football and Miller Lite. What a pairing. Can cracks at kickoff. Tailgates going way past postgame. Sunday night overtimes followed by Monday morning swagger. Brisket in the smoker. Miller Lite in the cooler. America's team playing America's greatest sport. Miller Lite, the only beer of the Dallas Cowboys. Dallas Cowboys football tastes like Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. 2023 Miller Brewing Company, Fort Worth, Texas.
How do you tell the world about all the great gifts in the Yeti store? Let her rip, Troy.
All right, folks, let's get started with the Yeti French Press. Enjoy coffee that stays hot for hours in a French press. 34 ounce for you, 6'4" for the cruise. The Yeti French Press. Hot mix waterproof bags. Bags waterproof. Submersible waterproof doubles. Waterproof bags. World's mostly water, so get a waterproof Yeti bag. Do I smell something cooking? Oh, new cast iron skillets made to be passed down like Mama's recipes. Take a steak, cornbread, cobbers, pot pie, and potatoes, and next level with 3 sizes of Yeti cast iron skillets.
Gear, gifts, and product experts. Visit the Yeti store on McKinney Street and at South Lake Town Square today.
Hey, Cowboy fans, I'm Dak Prescott, quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. But lately, I've been learning a new game, crypto. Sound confusing? Don't worry, even us pros were rookies in crypto once. That's why I trust blockchain.com. They make crypto easy. No confusing jargon, just the tools to help you win.
Prescott keeps it, slides with a first down.
Invest like your icons, where everyone is a rookie in crypto with blockchain.com.
Perfect throw, my goodness. Wow, did he ever thread the needle.
Visit blockchain.com/cowboys to get started.
The Medal of Honor is our country's highest military award for valor in combat. More than 40 million individuals have served in the armed forces since the Civil War. Fewer than 4,000 have received the Medal of Honor. The National Medal of Honor Museum will be a place to preserve these legacies and inspire America. It's being built right next door to the Dallas Cowboys in Texas. Help us honor our country's greatest heroes. Learn more and get involved at mohmuseum.org.
Back to Mick Shots.
Draft weekend at the Star. Cowboys fans, get ready for Draft Weekend presented by Miller Lite at the Star in Frisco. The action kicks off Thursday, April 24th, with the Ultimate Draft Party, continues Friday with the Draft Hangout, and wraps up Saturday with the Draft Day 5K. Oh, you need that one, Spags.
Yes.
Presented by Baylor Scott and White Health. 3 days of football, fun, and fan experiences you won't want to miss. Visit DallasCowboys.com/draft for details.
Speaking of a 5K, the Boston Marathon's today.
Oh, that's right.
How you feeling? You ready?
You ready to go? How long do you think it would take us to walk a 5K?
To walk a 5K?
Yes.
Oh, we would take our time, yeah.
Right?
Visit the stall and everything.
We could stop and get a drink somewhere.
Oh, yeah, man. That's how you do it.
All right, we're talking possibilities in the first round,
Right.
And we looked at the wide receiver, we looked
Running
at
back.
cornerback, running back.
So one more on the cornerback thing, and I still think you got to keep it in mind. We talked about it last week. The cornerback Revel,
Yes.
Yep.
That's my guy.
second
Coming
round,
off an ACL.
probably second round. And Dr. Cooper did the ACL repair, so they know all about him. And they've done that before with guys in the second round.
And see, the thing about any group, whatever group you have, the defensive back that you want someone that has a mentality. Okay, you got guys, the guy from Michigan, Will Johnson's amazing. He's got the size. I think that was about my size when I came. I'm sure he's got a lot more muscle than what I had when I came out. But these guys are all physically imposing and all of that. I get that. But besides Travis Hunter, you just don't see DBs with that mentality. Travis Hunter has that mentality because he's a wide receiver as well as a defensive back. I was Drew Pearson fan, so I thought I was a wide receiver growing up. So every time the ball was in the air, I'm thinking, it's mine.
Well, and that's a Trayvon Diggs mentality, too.
Trayvon Diggs mentality.
And he was a wide receiver.
DeRon Bland mentality.
That's right. That's what I'm looking for in these cornerbacks.
That's why I like your guy, Revel. That's why I like him. I saw the video that you guys showed me last week. There's a mentality that you can see as they cover. They're not just going for the cover or the knockdown of the hit.
Right.
They're not going just to strap it down on the seatbelt or whatever that crap is. He's looking for the ball.
Yeah.
The wide receiver is no consequence to him. That's the mentality that we have to have here. I don't want guys coming here, he can cover, he's physical and all that. Great, physicality is one thing, but intellect is another thing. I want you going after the ball when that ball is in the air for you, because when it is in the air, it is yours. It's not the knockdown. You're going for I don't even want to call it interception. You're just going for the ball. And that's his mentality.
And all ACLs are not equal, right? So the Cowboys will know everything they need to know.
That scares me a little
about
bit.
His,
that's
right?
concerning, yes.
Because, and they've done that before in the second round. So that's a thought at the cornerback position.
I wanted to get that in before we
so
we moved on.
my next position was defensive end at number 12. And I think Bill has a favorite there.
I do. I have a favorite, and he's from Georgia. There's two defensive ends from Georgia. Jalen Walker's the one of them, who was an off-the-ball linebacker, and so he projects as either an off-ball linebacker or an edge rusher, and kind of in the mold of a Micah Parsons. And both these guys are really young. I think Walker will be gone. He's from Carolina, and I would.
Oh yeah, he'll be gone.
I mean, Carolina picks at number 8, and the natives are going to be really mad if the Panthers pass on him. But the guy that I like as well is Michael Williams. And when I look at, and he's from Georgia, he'll turn 21 in June. He's 20 years old. He is 6'5", 265 pounds with 34.5-inch arms. But he is a Georgia Bulldog. You either last week or the week before, Everson said, what we need in this draft is we need a dog.
Right.
Right?
That's right.
So I went looking for a dog.
You went looking for it?
And
did he bite you?
The way that I look at what the Cowboys have lost on their defensive line and what they've added in this offseason, okay, think about what they've lost. I mean, there are a couple of defensive tackles, but on the Chauncey Golston signs with the Giants, DeMarcus Lawrence signs with the Seahawks. What they've added are Solomon Thomas is an inside guy in a rotation defensive tackle, but he can play at times on the outside in a pass rush situation.
We got our other guy back.
They've added Dante Fowler, who is a speed rusher. Okay?
And he's another 1 year.
And he's on a 1 year contract, $6 million deal. They're getting Sam Williams back, and Sam, so far in his career, has shown that he is a sub-package edge rusher. We haven't seen him in a position to defend the run.
And they were hoping last year he was that, but he never got a chance to show.
And where I think Michael Williams sets him apart, and there's a lot of really good defensive ends, edge rushers, that going from the first through the fourth round in this draft. But where I think Williams sets him apart, and keep in mind when you look at his tape that for much of the year last year he was playing on a high ankle sprain. And he missed several games because of it, came back, and he couldn't practice during the week. He would just play, which says a little bit about his toughness as well. But he defends the run, and he's got the ability to get to the quarterback. And I think when he walks in the door here, he would be the best run defender of what they've got on their defensive line. And I think that they have not replaced – my point is I don't think they have replaced D-Law. And you look back at last year when D-Law went down the fourth game of the year, about that same time they lost Parsons for 4 games.
Lost
Nealon got hurt during that time. But
Sam
you look at – and he was already gone. But the loss of DeMarcus Lawrence was huge for this team last year. And just think about what he's done for the last decade. I think this Michael Williams, he reminds me of Daniil Hunter, who came out 10 years ago, but he's also got the mentality of a DeMarcus Lawrence. And I would have no problem at all with the Cowboys picking him at number 12.
Because the only other thing they did there in the offseason was
Peyton Turner from the Saints, who is unproven, even though he's a former first-round draft pick. He hasn't gotten on the field much. He was like 300 snaps last year with the Saints.
So defensive end at 12, you would have no problem.
Yes, right. I think there is still a need there, despite the fact they've tried to fill it as best they can with some pass rushers, with Dante Fowler in free agency.
See, and he's probably one of those guys somebody's going to say, well, they could trade back a few and still get him. I've seen some people think of him as being the second best defensive end in this draft, like a 5th pick on their board, and others have him 22nd. So who knows? See, and I like him more because I've seen the production on the field as opposed to the guy from A&M.
Right, Shamar Stewart.
A workout guy. Right?
Yeah, and here's another difference. Shamar Stewart doesn't have the production on the field, but he would just blew out the combine.
That's what it says. Yeah,
I mean,
it just jumped off the screen.
His explosion numbers are just through the roof.
Well, why didn't he explode?
But Michael Williams,
he only got third team. All that.
See, one of the reasons the analysts aren't high on Michael Williams is, and they're probably scouts in NFL office, they cannot stand on the table for Michael Williams because he hasn't timed. There are no measurables for him. I mean, he did a 40 at a Georgia Pro Day.
Well, it's not just the 40, right?
Exactly.
It's everything.
Right.
Right.
Exactly. And one of the reasons he didn't was because their season was so long. He played into mid-January, and so he wasn't ready yet. And so
I wonder
when you talked about defensive ends and linebackers can be pretty much used the same depending on what side the linebacker's playing. We need a guy. If you're talking replacing DeMarcus Lawrence, then that guy has to be run smart and pass rush smart.
Yep.
He's got to be able to do both. He's got to be able to impact that edge so well and then also make a difference when it comes to the run. Then you want him to have that same push and explosion coming off the edge and pass. You could also do that with an inside linebacker as well. If you've got these guys up front, if we're showing up enough, there have been many times when, as with Michael Parsons, a linebacker made a difference on this defense. If you can get a linebacker that can be a multi-talented linebacker with that mentality, with that dog that we talked about, if he can set that edge as well as run pass rush off the edge, that'd be great as well. But also, you got that inside linebacker, one of those two linebackers, being able to control that part of his field. You're talking about somebody that can make a huge difference the way Michael Parsons did.
Well, and they've got a guy that they traded for in Kenneth Murray.
Okay.
Who has those type traits.
Yes.
Now, he's played, middle linebacker in this league, but you look at his traits. He ran a 4.5 at the combine. He's got 38 vertical and at 6'2", 241 pounds. Yeah. And he had 3.5 sacks in 14 games last year for Tennessee, so he was used a little bit getting after the quarterback. Yeah. I would love to know what Eberflus's plan is for Kenneth Murray.
If he's inside or outside.
And
I'm thinking like Singletary's, even Sam Mills with the Saints back in the
Overshown. He had 5 sacks last year. And see, that's what excites me about Kenneth Murray here is when Overshown gets back and you pair those guys up.
Yeah.
And because Murray's athleticism is very similar to what Overshown's is. And to your point, there are different ways that you can affect the quarterback with your linebackers.
So how do you play the run at middle linebacker?
Now we're back to the Parsons deal. Is this what we're talking about?
Well, they've got to need a linebacker, and especially with Overshown. I mean, when's he going to be back?
I can't imagine.
So I would not mind getting a player like that out of the box first round. I would not be opposed to that.
Well, there's a guy, Jihad Campbell from Alabama, he was actually recruited, and he's dealing with a shoulder
surgery after the combine.
But he is a guy who was actually recruited to Alabama to be an edge rusher, but they had edge rushers on the team. He was going to be backing up, so they put him at linebacker instead, and he played so well at linebacker they just kept him a linebacker. But he's got those same type traits. And Jalen Walker, the one from Georgia, is in that same boat.
Okay.
So the only other option at this point at linebacker would be Damone Clark, right? To play in the middle.
Well,
and then they got the
and Maris Leofau from last year's draft.
It would be one of them.
3rd-round pick, and Jack Sanborn.
And then Sanborn
started 3 games for Eberflus in Chicago last year also.
Let's just remember, we gave up a lot of yards running and passing. But if you're going to pick something first, you got to stop the run.
Yeah.
So that's why getting one of the bigger guys, I would not be opposed to that.
Well, but typically you can get those bigger guys in later rounds, and so in fact Schottenheimer talked about it at the owners' meeting, is building a team from the outside in. And if you look at the stats the last 5 years, I just saw someone posted this morning. first-round picks at different positions on defense, and it was defensive ends and cornerbacks. Like in the neighborhood of 25 of them for each have been selected in the last 5 drafts in the first round. You go to defensive tackles, and it's like less than 10.
Linebackers.
And linebacker is low, too.
Really?
And it's because most teams have that same attitude. It's getting the outside guys for wide receivers on offense. Wide receivers are right up there with quarterbacks going in the first round. Yeah, that's right.
It is officially
That's exactly right.
Well, let's look at it this way. They gave up 190 yards rushing to New Orleans. What happened in that game? That was a loss. They gave up 274 to Baltimore. What happened in that game? It was a loss. They gave up 184 rushing to Detroit. 223 to San Francisco.
What are we talking about here?
Stop me when they won one of these games.
What are we? But that for
they gave up 100 to Atlanta.
That's the philosophy. We're still talking comes from the outside
Philadelphia,
and we're talking these numbers here.
141 to Houston.
Yeah.
145. Did they win that first game against Washington?
So you're telling me?
Yes, that was the kick return game.
Oh, that's right. 145 to Washington. Wait, I'm not done.
Go back to the previous season, too.
They gave 179 to Philadelphia the second time and 113.
So did no one say, hey, did no one start reading off stats like this in front of his face? Come on. But I'm sorry. So you're saying, you said it, not they said it. You said they can find some guys that can fill those needs later down the road. Is that what you said?
No, that's what the league says.
Okay, I didn't think you said that. Yeah. Right.
No,
right.
I said it, but that's because that's what the league has done. Where linebacker is usually third round is where the run comes on.
They're trying to force a narrative. That ain't fitting. Not here.
Which brings me to defensive tackle.
Right.
Yep. That's right.
Come on, man. I'm thinking inside, outside. They're going outside in.
Well, they're talking about who can affect the game.
So, you know what?
I'm talking about who can affect
It's funny. At the same time that they say you build the team from the outside in, they also say the game is won in the trenches.
Come on, man. I'm not understanding. So I'm with you, Spags. I'm reading out the numbers.
Well, I'll tell you, during
I had 3 heart attacks. Oh, no, man. You just got a headache. No, man. I had. Come on, bro.
My symptoms are.
Yeah. Short of breath.
You're treating my numb arm, but the problem is here. It's in my chest.
That's right. I don't know, man. Y'all got me on that one.
That's why during
y'all got me on that one.
Tyron Smith's retirement ceremony last week, the guy with the biggest smile on his face was Jason Garrett, because that was what he wanted to do at that point in the draft.
And that's what they did with his
But that's
draft,
outside
and
now.
Travis Frederick, and then there's and so that does count as outside.
Tackle.
Tackle counts. And that's why you got Tyler Guyton here last year.
Okay.
And that's why Mickey says you don't draft a guard in the first round.
Don't go out there.
They're inside.
In the trenches.
All right, one more break, and then we're going to tell you exactly who the Cowboys won't pick when we come back.
So stop. Star Sports Tours is the only official fan travel partner of the Dallas Cowboys, offering exclusive game weekend travel packages with pre-game sideline access and photo ops with current players, cheerleaders, and Cowboy legends. You want to stay at a team hotel, attend the best tailgate party in Texas, tour the Star, and talk X's and O's with me, Everson Walls? With Star Sports Tours, you can. Visit cowboystravel.com to book your travel package today.
Hey, Cowboy fans, I'm Dak Prescott, quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. But lately, I've been learning a new game, crypto. Sound confusing? Don't worry, even us pros were rookies in crypto once. That's why I trust blockchain.com. They make crypto easy. No confusing jargon, just the tools to help you win.
Prescott keeps it, slides with a first down.
Invest like your icons, where everyone is a rookie in crypto with blockchain.com.
Perfect throw, my goodness. Wow, did he ever thread the needle.
Visit blockchain.com/cowboys to get started.
Star Sports Tours is the only official fan travel partner of the Dallas Cowboys, offering exclusive game weekend travel packages with pre-game sideline access and photo ops with current players, cheerleaders, and Cowboy legends. You want to stay at a team hotel, attend the best tailgate party in Texas, tour the Star, and talk X's and O's with me, Everson Walls? With Star Sports Tours, you can. Visit cowboystravel.com to book your travel package today.
Cowboys football and Miller Lite. What a pairing. Can cracks at kickoff. Tailgates going way past postgame. Sunday night overtimes followed by Monday morning swagger. Brisket in the smoker. Miller Lite in the cooler. America's team playing America's greatest sport. Miller Lite, the only beer of the Dallas Cowboys. Dallas Cowboys football tastes like Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. 2023 Miller Brewing Company, Fort Worth, Texas.
Back to Mick Shots.
Cowboys Nation, the Cowboys are headed back to Writers Field in Frisco, Texas for the 12th annual Reliant Home Run Derby on April 22nd. Come see your favorite Dallas Cowboy players swing for the fences to raise money for Salvation Army. Plus, meet the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders and rowdy. Admission is free and gates open at 6 p.m. Seating is first come, first serve. Visit dallascowboys.com/Reliant HRD for more details.
And that
Got
is
my
tomorrow.
money on Michael Parsons.
That is tomorrow.
I'm betting.
Tomorrow.
Let's take some bets, guys. Who's going to win? I got Michael.
You got Micah.
I got Michael.
Okay.
I think he's supposed to be there.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm done.
Because he's been a participant here.
He
loves it.
Well,
he loves it.
That first year, he gave the one of the equipment guys that was out there. He gave him $100. He said, "These bats suck. Go buy me the best bat for $100."
Yeah, they went to the sporting goods store and got him a bat.
So maybe they'll get one.
He'll
of
come out there with a torpedo
bat. That's what I was
There is
thinking.
no doubt Mike is going to have a torpedo bat. There's no doubt. He's probably been going to the batting cage with it already.
Yeah, right.
Okay, here we are. This is our last segment before the draft.
And at least, I don't know how much he's doing, but at least I've seen him physically here. He was here for Tyron Smith's retirement.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, you call it a celebration or
They said Dak was feeling pretty emotional for Tyron.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
This thing about him saying, "Yeah, I could play tomorrow." Well, they're not going to let him play tomorrow in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
And the second place is, while I've seen him do some of the stuff he does on the resistance cords, he's also did some of that without him, right? So he's moving well.
Mm-hmm.
He can run, but I don't think he wants to go through contact tomorrow.
Hey, before we move, how about Tyron Smith? What do you guys think about his retirement? And what did you think about it?
Oh, I thought that
his legacy here. We don't really talk much about him at all.
My first thought was listening to him to read his retirement deal that he scripted out.
Mm-hmm.
He cheated us because he didn't like talking, right?
And he's so big, we were afraid to
It's
go
like,
up and ask him to talk, even though he's a nice guy, but no.
When he would go, no, it's okay, yeah, good with me.
What if, with those strong hands, what if he grabbed you by the neck?
He was somewhat profound, right?
I didn't.
It was more out of respect. It was really this. I think for reporters, there was a respect for Tyron that we didn't bug him because we knew that he was a quiet guy, whatever. And and in the league as a player, he commands that kind of respect from his peers in the league too.
What do you think about his?
He should have showed up with one of those knee braces on his elbow.
What do you think about his impact on the league and on the team itself?
Oh, I thought it was the beginning of the Cowboys restructuring their roster because they had suddenly gotten old and expensive on the offensive line, and they started losing guys, retiring, and he was the first piece of the puzzle that Jason Garrett was like, we got to have this guy. Hudson Houck, we got to have this guy.
And we ran behind him a lot, didn't we?
They did a lot behind him, right? And then you picked up Travis Frederick 2 years later, and then Zach Martin and Lael Collins also. Lael showed up. He was there.
What's he doing?
He wants to play, by the way.
Yeah.
Well.
So here, Lael, if you get an offer, I just put it out there, right? Because he said my knee is finally recovered. And he looked good. He looked like he was.
Well, the Cowboys have signed Sadiq Charles. And
That's right.
Hakeem Adeniji the last week. Why not allow Collins?
Give him a workout.
No, I just had to hear. We don't, we have some great legacy around here in regards to offensive linemen. As much as we talk about Tyron and how imposing he is, we never really just talk about, how he impacted this team.
Right.
The culture of this team. And when you start talking about the culture of this team, that was the beginning, and that's when we didn't have any great running backs until Oklahoma came.
Marco Murray.
Marco Murray came. I just remember watching him play against Seattle Seahawks when we went up there.
Yep.
And dominated those guys. And that defense was not an easy defense.
Yeah.
We smoked them. Murray was running up and down the field. He had to have over 150 yards that game. And to watch that, that's when I knew that this team had really arrived, because it was a road game and we're playing against this vaunted defense. And
what reminded me about his hands, so they gave him a commemorative football. It was a black football. I'm not sure what it was made of. He had his hand around it, and I swear to God, his hand took up half the ball, right? And I'm going, I think this happened, that someone, and I can't remember if it was him or Flozell Adams, they nicknamed him Hotel California, because for defensive guys, you could check out, but you could never leave. If he got his hands on
like
you,
that.
right?
I've never heard that.
Yeah,
I've never heard
and that was him, right? And they did a highlight film before the ceremony started, and it just reminded you of how dominating he was, just dominating. I mean,
I told you I went on one of those cowboy cruise, whatever we did, something, and
Caravan.
Yeah, I don't know what it was, but his.
Well, in the highlight video, and for those not watching, Everson is pointing towards his bicep, but
big as my thigh, bro.
Well,
yes.
And in the tribute video that they put together, one of the sideline reporters shows a shot of the brace that was on the elbow, and it was and so she says that's not an arm brace, that is a leg brace. That's
on his arm.
On his arm. Yeah. That's a knee brace, not an elbow brace.
I checked last night, and I'm glad I still have. I have the video of him dancing, so I'm gonna get a ransom from him some kind of way.
By the way, 2014 was a pretty good season for this team. Okay, if not for.
That was the year they went to Seattle.
They went to Seattle that year. The game you're speaking of, he had 115 yards rushing in that game. If it was 30 to 20, I remember Terrence Williams the catch on the sideline. In that game was a signature moment in that game. Yeah. But I called up the game logs for DeMarco Murray in the 2014 season. He carried, and for the entire season. And this goes back to the offensive line and what Jason Garrett did, convincing Jerry and everybody that we have got to do. We got to take care of this offensive line. And you take Tyron Smith, and then you take Travis Frederick, and then you take Zach Martin in the first round. Okay, Murray had 392 rushing attempts that season for 1,845 yards, average 4.7 yards a carry, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 100-yard games that season.
It was so good watching him run. I loved it. Flashes of OU. And this was post ACL surgery, right?
Yeah.
Because he used to be much faster.
Right.
He used to be much faster.
Right.
And then he adapted and became that methodical runner.
Mm-hmm.
And you could do that behind an offensive line. You can't be methodical unless you have blocking.
And I think that Derrick Henry and Saquon Barkley did the entire running back field a service to remind him what you can do if your running back is really gaining.
As Ashton Jeanty pointed out in his Players Tribune letter to all NFL GMs.
What did he say?
Oh, and I'll tell you what, if you haven't read it, go to the Players Tribune and see the letter that Ashton Jeanty wrote and sent it to all the GMs in the league. It's phenomenal.
It's tackle football.
Yeah. I used the excerpt.
Draft the guy who can't be tackled is basically what he
said. He said, this is tackle football, and I can't be tackled.
And he said, you see what Saquon Barkley did? I can do that.
Right.
I used that at the bottom of my column on Friday. Yeah. And just remind you, how, like Rico Dowdle, he gained almost 60-some% of his yards the last 7 games, right?
Yeah.
Because they finally said, okay, we're sinking our teeth into you.
That's right.
You're the running back.
That's right.
Because they had a backup quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And he produced.
But everybody knew we had a backup quarterback. And he's
they
still
were finally able to start running
so
the ball
I factored what he did those last games. If he had done that, factored over 17 games, he would have had a 1,600-yard season. He didn't get the opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
So the running back does matter, by the way. But
we know
the
that in this
offensive
room.
line, it matters too.
And one other note, I'm glad you mentioned that about Jason and his impact on the drafts then, because I think you've got a coach here.
Yes.
Brian Schottenheimer, and I was able to sit down with him last week and talk about the whole approach to the draft, going from the combine when they had the entire coaching staff there and they're studying players and meeting to pro days, Dallas Day, draft meeting rooms, and so forth. And this is what I noticed about Schottenheimer the first time I heard one of his press conferences as the offensive coordinator during the regular season last year, where this guy knows the league. You can tell he knows the players in the league.
Yeah.
You can tell he loves scouting players, and he's a grinder. And so what you've had happen over the course of the last few months is he has locked arms with Will McClay and Mitch LaPointe and the entire the scouting staff, and he's making sure that his coaches are letting these scouts know this is what we look for in a football player.
Right.
And Jerry will listen to a head coach that he respects his evaluation ability, whatever, which is what he did with Jason Garrett, going back to when they drafted Tyron Smith and Travis Frederick and Zach Martin. And so I really think Schottenheimer is going to have a voice in that room, and Schottenheimer is going to have a good voice in that room because he's done the homework. He does all the legwork on it.
Mm-hmm. And for sure, he understands. The other thing that Jason Garrett, when we were talking about Brian Schottenheimer, he goes, well, look where he was raised. And I forgot about this. He goes, you remember Marty Ball?
Yeah.
And his dad, it was run the ball, play defense, and special
LT,
teams.
right? LT? Was it LT?
Yeah, Tomlinson at San Diego.
Yeah. And run the ball, play defense, and have good special teams. He goes, and for some reason they were successful, except for the ultimate goal was to win.
And his
Super
Jets
Bowl.
team that made it to the AFC Championship game, they led the league in rushing one year, and the Seahawks led the league in rushing one year. So when he was OC there.
Yep.
All right. So very good.
Here we
So
go.
we talked about running backs, wide receivers, cornerbacks, defensive ends, and so I can't wait to see what offensive lineman the Cowboys pick in the first round.
Or the defensive
guard.
or the tackle.
All right. And so we'll be back to wrap it all up next Monday.
Yes.
11 a.m. here on Mick Shots.
Oh, Cowboys.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!